What's up, guys? Well, I will do a little video today talking about cineworld and my thoughts on that, on my thoughts on the cineworld cinemas as a whole. So I was actually at cineworld today. I went to watch a film that I'd wanted to see for quite a while now. Actually, it was the Minecraft movie. Um, the film was pretty good. I actually did enjoy it. Obviously, the thing with me, I feel like they need to get rid of all the adverts. I don't mind the film trailers so much. Obviously it's nice to see kind of, what films coming out in cinemas. See if there's anything that you might want to go and see. So I don't mind that too much, but it's just the other adverts you get before the film and trailers. They all feel kind of pointless. You don't really need to sit through them. It's one of those things. Obviously, it cost me 14 quid to get in there, and I was just paying for myself, so it wasn't too bad. But you gotta think about how much it would cost for, a mother and father who, let's say, for example, they had about 5 or 6 kids. It would cost them an absolute bomb. The cinemas are definitely not cheap. You've got to think about the ticket prices, and then you've got to add on, how much you're paying for like the snacks and drinks and things like that. You're gonna be paying a quite significant amount of money for, drinks and snacks in there because the problem is, snacks, prices for drinks and snacks and things like that, like popcorn, sweets, etc. In Cineworld isn't cheap. I don't know how much they are in like the few cinemas. And I don't know how much they are in Genesis. I believe Genesis. I believe Genesis. It might actually be, well, the Genesis cinema down my end. I think it might be cheaper than it is Cineworld. I don't know. I don't mind paying the ticket prices. 14 quid. Although I don't really know what warrants that amount of money to actually watch a film. It's like, why should you have to pay like 50, 14, 15 quid just to watch a film? And that's without paying for like the snacks. Obviously I didn't pay for any snacks and stuff in there. I took my own in the bag, and it's obviously they don't search for that, so you can actually get your own drinks and that in there very easily without them being seen. And I don't know if Cineworld would necessarily stop people from taking their own drinks and stuff in if that was what they wanted to do. It's what I do because I think it works out cheaper than it does pay when you're paying the prices that you're paying in the actual cinema. You know, I got I got 2 drinks and I got a couple of tubes of Pringles. Um, and obviously that didn't work out. That wasn't that deep. That was actually cheaper than it was in the actual cinema. The cinemas, the cinema price, like especially the prices that cinema will charge, are just an absolute rip off. I don't know what warrants the prices they actually charge. Yeah, I know that obviously that's how they make their money, but like, what? It's like, do they really need to be charging such an extortionate amount of money for that? In itself, do they need to be paying? I don't think they really need to be paying that amount of money. I think it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Um, I honestly don't know what to say, to be honest. But it's a bit of a bizarre kind of situation. Obviously, like, why would you want to pay that? As I said, it's not so bad for me, as I was only paying for myself. But you think about how much it would cost for a family that has a lot of kids. It would cost an absolute fortune. With the ticket prices, and obviously the prices for like drinks and popcorn and sweets and things like that. Adding on top of that, it's just not cheap. It's not cheap. Gone are the days where cinema prices were dirt cheap. They're not like that nowadays. I mean, obviously I don't know if it would work out cheaper at Genesis. Maybe it does, but Cineworld. I think are pretty reasonable. I mean, I think, I just don't understand why cineworld charge so much money for drinks and snacks and things like that. You know, it's like, why should people have to pay so much money, for drinks and snacks on top of the money that they've already paid for for their tickets and stuff? If you're already paying a decent amount of money for, cinema tickets, and you're adding the money for drinks and snacks on top of that, it's just ridiculous. And it ends up coming to a ridiculous amount of money. I can't remember the last time we actually paid the prices in the actual cinema. I think it's been quite a long time since we did that. We just take our own drinks and snacks in with us. We don't even bother to pay the prices in the cinemas, as we refuse point blank to do that. Because at the end of the day, there was absolutely no way that we'd be willing to pay the prices in the cinemas, and the prices they charge when you can actually get drinks and popcorns and popcorn and things like that for significantly cheaper in shops. And there is a shop just down the road from the cinema. That's the one that I go to quite often. Um, well, that's the one that we always go to. Obviously, we always go to that one and we buy our drinks and stuff in there because it actually works out significantly cheaper than it would if we were to actually pay for the drinks and stuff in the actual cinema. You know, Cineworld, I'm not saying that Cineworld is just a bad, it's not, it's a bad cinema, but I just feel like they need to lower their prices a little bit. Like they need to, I just don't think they should be charged. I don't agree with the fact that they charge so much for drinks and popcorn and things like that in there. I just think it's not necessary to charge the amount of money that they do actually charge. I think it would probably, I mean, I don't have a problem, I mean, some people might not have an issue with paying those prices, and I think people would be mad to pay those prices that they're charging in the cinema, especially when you can actually pay when you would actually be paying significantly less if you were to buy your drinks and stuff in a shop. Which let's face it, you would actually be paying cheap. You would actually be paying less money. I mean, we always do. We always end up paying less money for the snacks and stuff in the shop than we would actually in the cinema. You know, it's like and I had obviously we're not a big family with like loads and loads of children. It's been hard, it would be hell, having to try and make sure you had enough money to actually afford that cinema, to be able to actually afford to go to the cinema. Like, you know, I can't imagine how hard it is for some parents during the school holidays trying to find cheap things for their kids to do. Trying to find things that won't cost so much money. Because a lot of things nowadays do cost money, and the cinema is one of those things. The cinema is one of those things that isn't ever going to be cheap. You know, and Cineworld are a very good example of that because they charge, 14, 15 quid for tickets, and then they're charging however much it is for drinks and sweets and popcorn and things like that. And as I said, I do understand that it's how, they make their money, but I just don't think they need to be charging so much money for drinks and snacks and things like that. And I think people would all, I definitely think people would be daft, but, would be very, must be stupid to want to be paying those prices that they pay in the cinema. It's just like, why would you want to pay so much money? Why would you not just buy your drinks and snacks in the shop? I mean, I know that Genesis are probably a little bit funny about people taking their own drinks and snacks in with them. I don't know what the view cinemas are like when it comes to people taking drinks and snacks in with them. I don't know if they have a problem with that. I'm not entirely sure whether the cinema whether you would be stopped at Cineworld. You know, I mean, they don't search the bag, so you've got no reason to worry. All they do is just check the ticket and, tell you where your screen number is, and that's that. Um, I mean, obviously, the Minecraft movie itself, very, very good. Jason Momoa is in it, the one who played the guy who played Aquaman. Funny seeing him in that, so I always think of him as Aquaman. Um, and he was just as brilliant. He was just as brilliant in the Aquaman films as he is in the Minecraft film. He was the only cast member of that in that film that I was actually familiar with. I wasn't actually familiar with any of the other cast members who were actually in that film. The only one I was familiar with was Jason Momoa, as obviously he was in the Aquaman films. I think it's definitely good. I think kids would enjoy it. I mean, if it, I think if they're into Minecraft, I think they would definitely enjoy it. I think they would definitely, have a good time. It's definitely worth the money. So yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't think it's an extortionate amount of money, but I think I mean, people would be crazy to pay the amount of money they pay. I honestly do believe that. I think you would be ridiculous. It is a bit ridiculous to pay that amount of money for that to pay that sort of money for that. Crazy. It is. It's just absolutely crazy. Like, why would you pay so much money for that? You know, why would you why would you like I mean, obviously, why would you pay so much money, for drinks and snacks and stuff in cinemas when you could just pay significantly less in a shop? That's the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, I thought I would give my thoughts on and my opinions on Cineworld, and uh, you know what I like about Cineworld and one of my dislikes on of Cineworld, which is the fact that they charge so much for drinks and snacks, which they don't really necessarily need. I mean, I certainly wouldn't pay that amount of money. Definitely not. But I don't see why people should. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not worth paying the money in the cinemas. In the cinemas, you can just pay less money in the shops. Yeah, that's my advice on that. So I'll see you for another video soon anyway. And hope you enjoyed this one. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.